So FanDuel has this very unique list of each NFL team GOATs. I'm going to go through all the teams, and there's going to be a few of them that I'll just point out as very interesting choices. So the Arizona Cardinals has Larry Fitzgerald. Atlanta Falcons is Matt Ryan, which is interesting. Baltimore Ravens is Ray Lewis. Buffalo Bills is Bruce Smith, which is interesting. Carolina Panthers is Cam Newton. That's a no-brainer. Chicago Bears is Walter Payton. Another no-brainer. Cincinnati Bengals is Anthony Munoz. They could have gone some other ways, but Anthony Munoz. Cleveland Browns is Jim Brown. That makes perfect sense. Dallas Cowboys is Emmitt Smith. Denver Broncos is John Elway. Detroit Lions is Barry Sanders. Green Bay Packers is Aaron Rodgers, which is interesting. Houston Texans is J.J. Watt. Indianapolis Colts is Peyton Manning. Jacksonville Jaguars is Fred Taylor. I think we forget how great Fred Taylor was back in the day. Kansas City Chiefs is Patrick Mahomes. That's a no-brainer. The Raiders is Marcus Allen. Could have gone different directions, but Marcus is fine. The Chargers went with LaDainian Tomlinson. The Rams went with Aaron Donald, which is interesting. Not complaining about it, but it's interesting. Miami Dolphins is Dan Marino. Yep. Let's see, the Vikings, Minnesota Vikings is Randy Moss. Could have gone Frank Tarkenton, but but Randy Moss is cool. The Patriots is, of course, Tom Brady. The New Orleans Saints is Drew Brees. New York Giants is Lawrence Taylor. The New York Jets is Joe Willie Namath. The Eagles is Reggie White, which is amazing because Reggie White's been passed away for a long time now, but he's still the top dude in this list. The Pittsburgh Steelers is Mean Joe Green. They could have gone a different direction, but that's fine. San Francisco is Jerry Rice, the GOAT wide receiver of all time. Seattle Sonics. The Sonics. I wish. The Seattle Seahawks is Russell Wilson. Interesting, but I get it. And the Tampa Bay Bucks is Derek Brooks. The Houston Texans / Houston Oilers is Warren Moon. And the Washington Commanders, who was formerly the Redskins, the Commanders, is Darryl Green. So, to be honest, this list isn't too outrageous because sometimes they have lists that's like, oh my God, this list makes no sense. Okay, off the bat, let's go back to Atlanta. Matt Ryan. Listen, Matt Ryan was great. Matt Ryan was consistent. Matt Ryan was solid, especially after Michael Vick had went to prison for dogfighting. But come on, man. Like Michael Vick, it's almost like with Cam Newton with the Panthers. Michael Vick was the most greatest quarterback of that early 2000s era, man. Like Michael Vick was unstoppable. Michael Vick was Allen Iverson on a football field. And Michael Vick wasn't that big. That's the crazy thing. Michael Vick was like maybe around 6 foot. That dude can run. He could pass. Like he brought people back into the Atlanta football stadium. Because after they had the Dirty Birds era, and you had Deion Sanders and Andre Rison, you had that crew. Man, Vic brought football back to Atlanta, and I hate the fact that he had the dogfighting scandal because Vic was just on his way of he was eventually gonna take them to the Super Bowl. That's how good he was. But Matt Ryan did go to the Super Bowl, and maybe that's why they said it. But overall, if you ask an Atlanta Falcons fan who's been around for that time period, from Vic and Matt Ryan, and you ask him who's the GOAT quarterback, it has to be Michael Vick, man. No offense to Matt Ryan, but Michael Vick he was a lethal weapon, man. He was just unstoppable. Jim Brown is a no-brainer with the Browns. But it's kind of messed up because Jim Brown retired like back in the mid to late 60s. Probably like the late 60s he retired, and he's still the GOAT. And being a Browns fan, there's been some talented players since then, but yeah, it says a lot that Jim Brown's still that dude, like over 55 years later. Let's see. Green Bay's interesting. Because it's almost like you could say go 1 and go 2. Or go 3. Like you got Bart Starr, but they won't talk about Bart Starr these days. But now that gives you Aaron Rodgers and it gives you Brett Favre. Most times back in the day, I think they probably would have gone with Brett Favre. But Brett Favre has proven to be not a great guy. And I think, and even though Aaron Rodgers can be kind of prickly and weird in his own way, I think it's almost like, you know what? Aaron is kind of goofy, but Aaron overall, consistent. To be honest, like if you look at Aaron Rodgers' stats, he was a lot more accurate than Brett. Like Brett threw a lot of interceptions. Um, but because Brett has become very scandalous over the years, you kind of forget what a great quarterback he was. So you could, if they would have said Brett Favre, I think people would understand. But I think people can also understand is Aaron Rodgers because it's almost like a tie between those two. They both only won one Super Bowl each. Like with all the talent that Aaron Rodgers had, and he threw less picks than Brett, you would think that Aaron would have won another Super Bowl, but he didn't. So it's kind of a push between Aaron and Brett Favre. But I mean, but Aaron Rodgers makes perfect sense. Aaron Donald, I totally understand Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald was fantastic. But man, you look at the greatest show on turf. Like, I mean, are we forgetting about Marshall Faulk? Like Marshall Faulk was great, man. Man, I get the love. I get the love for Aaron Donald. I absolutely do. But man, you look at Kurt Warner, but Kurt Warner was great, but he was like a flash of greatness. Matt Marshall Faulk, man. Isaac Bruce. I mean, they could have gone other ways with this, but I understand Aaron Donald. Dan Marino is like a no-brainer. He's almost like Jim Brown. Like, I know Tom Brady is the GOAT. I totally understand it. And I know that Dan Marino only went to one Super Bowl and he never won. But skill-wise, Dan Marino was a weapon. I mean, the worst thing is that Miami didn't do enough to surround him with enough talent to win a Super Bowl. Because outside of that, Dan Marino should be the GOAT of all GOATs just by pure talent alone. Like if you said like you can have your choice between as far as like skill wise, Dan Marino and Tom Brady, just pure skill wise is Dan Marino. But Tom Brady had everything else. So, you know, it's not to knock Tom Brady at all, but I mean, if you talk about skill level, I mean, it's like Marino, Elway, Brady. It's crazy, man. Joe Namath with the Jets is funny because Joe Namath is just like Jim Brown. Like Joe Willie. After all these years, Joe Namath is still the GOAT for the Jets. And I totally understand it because Joe had style, he had charisma. He took him to the Super Bowl. He won. He said we're gonna win, and Joe Willie is fantastic. But damn it, in 2025, he's still the GOAT. What does that say about that franchise? Y'all can in New York, y'all can goof on my Browns all you want. But basically, the Jets are almost like the Browns in a lot of ways. What have y'all won? Nothing. Not in recent times. Yeah, it's been long. It's been longer for my Browns, but still, shout out to Joe Willie, man. Ladies, man, great quarterback. Shout out to Reggie White. Mean Joe Green. Pittsburgh could have gone. Man, they could have gone with Terry Bradshaw. They could have gone Jerome Bettis. They could have gone with Lynn Swann. But Mean Joe Green, he set the attitude for that team. He did, man. I think because when the media doesn't talk about these older football players anymore, they kind of stop at Lawrence Taylor. But man, if you go before Lawrence Taylor and you went back to Mean Joe Green, fantastic. Trend. Oh, like I love Myles Garrett with the Browns, and Myles Garrett is great. But sometimes you look at those Mean Joe Green type dudes, like man, I wish Myles sometimes was a little bit more angrier. But Myles is great. But yeah, man, those guys were great. Jerry Rice. Listen, I love Joe Montana. And any other list, Joe Montana would probably be the GOAT for the 49ers and or Steve Young. But definitely Joe. But man, Jerry Rice is probably top three football players of all time. Top three, top five. Shout out to Jerry Rice. Russell Wilson, man. Listen, Russell's great. He led to a Super Bowl, but you could have gone with Marshawn Lynch. You could have gone with Steve Largent. You could have gone with Sean Alexander. You could have gone with Richard Sherman. Hell, you could have just said the Legion of Boom. I understand why they chose Russell, but man, if they would have chose Steve Largent, even if they chose Marshawn Lynch, like Marshawn Lynch is really the reason they won. Like, listen, Russell's great, but man, I think I would have gone with Marshawn. And Warren Moon is wonderful. Derek Brooks is wonderful. Darren Green is wonderful. So when you look at this list of the NFL GOATs of your favorite team, did they get it right or did they get it wrong? I think for a lot of these, they actually got it right. But I'm sure a couple of them, you might think they got it wrong.